I feel like there's nothing I would change moving forward because I figured out and changed so many things in the year. Like we even halted curriculum this year.
Hey everyone, this is Yvette Hampton. Welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. I am back today with Aby Rinella, and we're just talking. We're having a recap of our year and what our homeschool year has looked like, kind of what we're looking forward to in the future. And so this is just a fun conversation. But before we get back into it, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, BJU Press Homeschool. If you want help managing your homeschool on a day-to-day basis, BJU Press has a homeschool hub that can dramatically simplify things for you. You'll be able to see your child's workload, document grades, modify schedules, and more. The BJU Press Homeschool Hub is the resource you need for painless planning and happy homeschooling. Visit bjupresshomeschool.com to see how the hub can change your homeschooling. That's bjupresshomeschool.com. Well, Aby, welcome back.
Thanks.
Yeah, so we left a major cliffhanger.
I mean, people are dying. Here was the question, ladies and gentlemen. What is the point of a pet fish? That's it. What is the point of a pet fish? Oh, I'll answer.
Okay.
Nothing.
Do you want to answer it?
There's no point. Well, you can disagree, but I would say this. Go back to Monday and listen, because Yvette said she doesn't like dogs or cats and she has no heart. But I said that they do have a fish, and I said, what is the point of a fish? All they do is make that fish bowl. Listen, they stink. Yeah. They dirty the fish bowl. You can't hug them. You can't cuddle them. They don't protect your home. They do nothing for you but swim in circles. It's like NASCAR in water.
Not even NASCAR.
No, because there's not even two of them racing.
Right.
There's just a fish swimming around.
And we have a betta fish, which you can't put any other fish with a betta fish.
Because they eat other fish, right?
Eat them. But they're beautiful.
They are beautiful, but you can hang a picture of a fish up.
So see, that's the point, Aby.
The beauty
is beauty, God's creation.
Okay, then you can have a little bowl of God's creation
don't make
in
noise.
Your kitchen.
So, and responsibility. So this is Lacey's fish. It's not my fish.
They're affordable too.
They're affordable. Yes, this was, Brooklyn bought Lacey the fish for her birthday this past year. And Lacey
the food doesn't cost a lot.
It does. I mean, you could buy like one little thing of food and it lasts for like 2 years. Yeah. It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't eat very much, but it teaches her responsibility. So she has to feed the fish every day. She has to clean the little fish bowl, but her fish tank doesn't stink. I think if you have a big one with lots of fish, they probably stink.
Okay.
But no, this one doesn't stink unless it stinks and I don't know it, because now
you're used to it. Oh, totally. Totally. Yeah. You walk into someone's house, you're like, but they don't smell it. So maybe your fish, somebody, if you live next to her, will you please go to Yvette's house and be
Come
really
smell
honest?
My house.
Does it smell like a fish bowl? Okay.
I don't think so.
Anyway,
Captain Bubbles is Lacey's sweet little pet. Anyway. So so we're talking about just the past year and what, just what it's been like,
what we've learned, what we've gained, and to let everybody know, look, it's still a journey. We're still figuring things out. We still make mistakes and learn from them and keep going. But ultimately, it's good.
So, okay, if you could do something differently this past year, what would you do?
Well,
differently
I feel like
or different? Did I say that right? If you could do something different?
Differently. I think you could. Whoa.
I feel like I'm using
do something
that
different.
Incorrectly.
I did it differently. Or if you could do something different, maybe I'm wrong.
I think that's
anyway.
Sure.
If you could change one thing,
I would learn English.
It would be grammar. Just kidding. I feel like there's nothing I would change moving forward because I figured out and changed so many things in the year. Like we even halted curriculum this year. Like we were in the middle of a history curriculum, and here's something crazy cool. My 2 older kids are finally old enough, like I do everything with them. But this year I was juggling the little and the big. And so I was having them read out of a textbook from a very reputable company that I love very, very much, totally biblical based.
You can say what it is.
Okay. So, and you guys would appreciate this because it's Sunlight and I really, really like them. And my kids have always liked Sunlight, but there was one book that my kids kept coming back. And so here's the thing is I used to pre-read everything. I mean, anything my kids laid their eyes on, I would check first. A song, a TV show. You get to a point, though, with many kids and older kids where you just can't. I cannot read. Right. So I just make sure that they are getting things from people I trust, reputable resources. The books are books that other people have vetted, that are on lists from places I trust. So I didn't pre-read this book because it was from a company I knew and trusted. Well, my kids came back with this textbook and they're like, Mom, this just doesn't sound right. There's something off. And it wasn't a biblical issue, but it was a bit of a historical angle and I was like, you guys are just trying to get it. Go, just sit down and shut up and read the book. And then they just kind of did. And that's not like my kids. They were kind of complaining. So I finally was like, okay, read it to me. And I was like, that doesn't sound. And so the first lesson I learned is, you guys, this is so cool with us to be able to homeschool, to teach our kids these foundations and teach them truth, that they learn to have discernment on their own.
Yeah.
And it was so cool that my kids had that discernment. So of course, I'm the mom. I call the company. And guess what? The company's like, oh, we don't use that book anymore. Because I had like bought it used from some friends. They're like, nope, we don't use that book anymore because of these reasons that my kids were saying.
Wow.
And they had, which totally blessed me with sunlight, that they're doing that. And the woman I talked to was amazing. She was totally godly. She also told me, she's like, however, the things that were wrong in the book, if you would have read the instructor's guide, it would have pointed those out, and then you have the conversations with your kids. And I'm like, well, I didn't. But what was so cool about that experience that we as homeschoolers get to do is we are raising our kids. Our kids are going to leave our home at some point, and they do have to have the skills and the discernment to be able to navigate those things. And because they've been under our roof and we've been able to help them do that, then they can. And I got to, for the first time, see that in my older kids. My high schoolers saying, Mom, there's something that this isn't actually, And it was so cool. And then it was really cool to be able to call the company and be like, yeah, we don't use that book anymore.
Yeah.
So it's
awesome.
a blessing, because I think how many kids from public schools are getting things that are wrong, but nobody's ever told them or walked that through with them, and parents don't have a clue.
Yeah. And private schools too.
Private schools too. I mean, if you don't know. So that felt like a little bit of the fruit of my labor, that I got to see my kids discern something and come to me and say, I found something odd. But just to settle everybody, it was not a biblical issue. It wasn't even a major. I mean, if it was never caught, it wasn't a major thing, but it was a very neat experience.
Yeah. That's super cool.
I don't know how we got on that. Oh, we were talking about things we do different. And I said, I would even, I even had to change some curriculum in the middle of the year. And I had to, so I did a lot of changes this year. So I feel like finally in the last month, I feel like we're in a really good place going into next year. I feel like we got a lot of bugs worked out going into our school year next year.
Yeah.
So,
and there will be more bugs. I love that you're able to put something down. I think so often, I was actually talking to a mom recently, and she was like, we're at the end of the year and we just haven't finished our textbook. And I feel like we need to finish because like she's one who needs to check the list.
Yep.
And I was like, just be done. Like,
done.
it's okay.
Yep.
You don't have to finish the textbook.
Nope.
And, I think it stresses moms out sometimes.
Yes.
We've spent money on this curriculum.
Yep.
We feel like we need to get to the end, all the things. And if it's not working for your family, or if you're just done, be done.
Right. Be done.
And you can always pick it back up at the beginning of next year, or you can just be done.
Yep. Because your kids aren't going to learn once they're done at that point anyway. Last night was so exciting. I sat down because we're wrapping up our school year, and I knew there were certain things we were not going to get through the whole book. So I sat down with each book. I went to the table of contents, and I was like, what topics need covered? What content needs to be covered? So we're not going to do a page by page, because we're not going to get through it page by page. But what concepts do we need to hit before the end of the year? And I went through and I'm like, no way, we've hit all the concepts. Like all the rest of this is just review or busy work. And so it was so cool last night. I'm like, you guys, seriously, we're done at the end of this week. And so I want to tell parents one hint when you get to the end of the year and you feel like, oh no, we're not going to finish this book. Go to the table of content and look at concepts, because your goal as a homeschool parent is to teach your children the concepts, not to do every page. Right. You do not have to do every page, but there are concepts your kids need to learn, because you don't want to go into 5th grade math if they don't have the foundation of the concepts in 4th. Right. So figure out what the concepts are and then hit those concepts, teach them those concepts and be done. You could do it in a lot shorter time. You don't have to do every single page.
Yep. Good stuff. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. We want to thank all of our sponsors for making this show possible: BJU Press Homeschool, CTC Math, Apologia, and IEW. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this. Visit the show notes for links to these great companies and thank them for supporting the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. We are back with Aby, and it's fun. I love being able to look back on the school year. Do you, when you finish your year,
Mm-hmm.
do you plan immediately for your next year, or do you wait? Do you take a break and then come back to it? Because it seems like there could be benefits both ways. Like at the
Yeah.
end of the year, which I'm getting ready to do because I need to just, I need to wrap my mind around what we're doing for next year.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel like I need a brain break. And so
Right.
I want to
Totally.
wait, which I know a lot of parents wait, a few weeks or even a couple months into the summer to really start planning the next year.
Right.
What do you do typically?
Well, so as I actually just finished my last plans to end this year, I was making Post-it notes of, okay, this concept I want to make sure we hit. So I was kind of making notes of, we need to do this next year. I need to hit this. Like they
Yeah.
didn't do a research paper that I wanted them to do. So we'll start the next year with that. So I just was like writing notes,
Right.
filing them away so that at least I'm like, that's there. And then I'm going to give myself, I need to get through June because there's convention, there's lots happening. And then when my life slows down in July, then I'll get all of those notes out and I'll start planning the next year. But I do take notes when it's fresh because I need to remember like, oh, she didn't master the 5s times table or whatever,
Yeah.
So I do a little bit of both, but I think it doesn't matter. Whatever, you'll figure out what works, and things work different in different years.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
I love planning. Did you see that meme? There was a hilarious meme that went around, and there was a picture of a mom that just like looked exhausted and haggard, and it said, me finishing up this year's curriculum. And then underneath it, there was like the Sound of Music lady, like, going through the fields and so happy and excited. She says, this is me planning for next year's curriculum. And isn't it true? It's like, I don't want to think about ending this year. I'm like over it, but I just can't wait to crack the new books for next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it. What is that? It's funny. It's
fresh,
I don't know.
a new
It's
hope,
fresh.
a new start. We all love
Yes.
that, just that hope and that excitement and that joy and that anticipation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's exactly what it is.
I love planning.
I like planning.
You
I
just don't like
just am
executing.
not very good at executing it always.
I know. Totally.
It's why I like to make spreadsheets. So, I can plan and
Oh.
make these beautiful color-coded spreadsheets, but actually putting those spreadsheets into real life action,
practice. That's funny.
that's a totally
That's
different
funny.
story.
So are you guys done for the year?
Yes.
Are you
Yeah.
wrapping up?
We're wrapping up. We're going to continue doing some things through the summer.
We are too, actually.
Really just reading.
Yeah.
Lacey needs to work on some math stuff just to kind of keep it fresh in her mind.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of gone slow this year, which I don't care. I mean, I'm fine with that. But so that she doesn't have to start all over from the beginning
Totally.
again next year. So
Yeah.
as we're home, we'll just do stuff. But yeah, we're done. I don't know. I'm not one of those moms. It's so funny. I know that there are moms who are like, this is our first day of school, which we always have our first day, I guess,
Right.
Of school. But even the last day, like I don't schedule out our year to where,
Right.
okay, we have to finish this X amount of things and
Agreed.
this is going to be our last day of school.
Right.
Like we just kind of roll into summer. Like we just kind of
Yeah.
stop doing the things that we do
Yeah.
and continue reading. Like we always just continue reading together, and
Right.
we play a lot of games together. We do a lot of things that I think they're not traditional school,
Right.
and
Because
so we'll
life
keep
is
doing those
school, so
things.
you don't stop life. So you don't have a last day of
Right.
like school.
Right.
That's how we are. We don't. Everyone's like, "Are you done?" And I'm like, "Well, we're done with this, and we're done with that, and this kid is done
Right.
with math, and this kid is done with but we're still going to be doing some history because we love it. Like
Right.
my kids are like, I don't want to stop because they're loving it,
Yeah.
and we're going to read every day. So we don't have like this. When they were little, I think I did. If I'm looking back, I think we had this is the last day of school,
Right.
and maybe because my mind was like, we have to have a last day of school. Or
Right.
maybe it was just different when they were little. But as they're older, I'm like, they finish at different times.
Yeah.
Expectations are different for different kids,
Right.
So
Yeah. And
we're
not
kind
that
of
it's wrong. It's not wrong to have a last day of school. I just
No.
feel like it's
Not at
more
all.
of the like traditional school mentality
Yeah.
that school only goes from,
Right.
August or September until May or
Right.
June. And
Or
I
that
just
there's
don't
a start and an
feel
end date
that.
of learning, and there's not.
Right.
There
Yeah.
is no
It
start and end
just
date of
is
learning.
kind of a lifestyle.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
but at the same time, I mean, summertime is summertime. And so we're, like right now, we're actually planning what we're going to do for summer. And we're not traveling this year. We've traveled the past
Wow.
many years for Schoolhouse Rocked.
Yeah.
And so we're doing one local conference here in Oklahoma, and literally like we're not even speaking. I said I can't speak, but Garrett and I are both going to be on a couple of panels,
Oh, cool.
and it's at the end of June in Oklahoma City. I know that's not very helpful. I should have more information on that. Um, but that's the only event that we're doing, and we can drive there in the morning and drive back. Like
Oh,
it's going to
cool.
be a
So
quick
that's just a
thing.
day
But
thing.
yeah, but other than that, we just really want to spend the summer building relationships with people
Oh,
in our
yeah.
local community.
Love it.
And I think we're going to take a fun vacation. We have not taken a non-work vacation in, I don't know, 7 years,
Wow. What
8
are you going to
years.
do?
I'm not sure yet. We're throwing around some ideas, and I'm not sure. You know what's so weird is that we love the beach
Yeah.
because we're from
Right.
California and
Right.
we have always lived near the beach. And then we went to Georgia where again we were near, the
Right.
beach. And by the way, the East Coast beaches are way better than West Coast beaches for
Oh,
those who might be wondering. They just, I mean, California beaches are amazing too, but there's something about the East Coast, like the water's warmer, the sand is better. It
wow.
doesn't stick to you. It's great. So anyway,
Wait, the
but
sand doesn't stick to you on the East Coast?
no, it
Wait,
just
what?
kind
How
of
is
falls
that?
off.
It's like a different kind of sand?
It's a different kind of sand. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. So this is weird. Okay. In California, when you go to the beach,
Yeah.
all the moms take baby powder because when you're done playing at the beach, all the sand sticks to you.
Huh.
And so you sprinkle baby powder on your legs and stuff, and it kind of lets the sand just kind of falls off.
Okay.
It dries it up and then
Yeah.
it falls off. The first time we went to the beach in Georgia, I guess we probably went to South Carolina because it was it was only like 40 minutes from where we lived, and they have a really nice beach there at Hilton Head. And so we went and I had my baby powder and I was ready to dust sand off. And I was like, wait, there's no sand
Whoa.
stuck to you. It's
That's
so weird.
crazy.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Anyhow,
Oh.
we're landlocked now in Oklahoma. There's no beach around here. There's just these weird lakes and they feel
Weird
yucky on my
lakes.
feet.
That's so
We
funny.
need to find a nice lake. I hear that they are out there. We've only visited one and it was gross. And
Oh.
so
So you think
I
you guys
think we're
might go to
gonna,
the beach?
well, it's so far. It's
Well,
like
where's the closest beach to you?
probably Texas.
Okay.
Texas would be the closest beach. We haven't been to any beaches in Texas, so I can't tell you what the water or sand
Oh.
is like there. Um, but I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to do something fun. So we're talking with the girls and trying to figure that out. And
Aw.
then I just want to spend the summer relaxing and not traveling too
Yes.
much. And
Oh, that sounds
like I
amazing.
said, just building relationships with people. We
Yeah.
love hosting people and having people over. So if anybody's traveling through the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, I said this a couple of years ago, and my friend Carrie, I met her that way. She's a podcast listener, and her and her family were coming through. She and her family, she and
She
her
was
family.
coming through.
What
Yeah.
is with my grammar today?
I don't know.
Good golly.
Some of
She
those
and her
days.
family, her and hers peoples, were
Those
coming.
folk. Those folk were coming on through.
I think Oklahoma is really getting to me.
I
Oh
think
dear.
so.
Anyway, they were traveling through Tulsa. And so she messaged me and she's like, you said on the podcast that we could stop and visit you. And I
That's
was like, yes. And so
hilarious.
it was so fun. It was 2 summers ago and we got to meet them and have stayed in contact with them since. So seriously, if anyone's coming through the Tulsa, Oklahoma area this summer, reach out to us. You can email us at podcast@schoolhouserocked.com
That is
and let
so
us know because
cool.
we would truly love to meet you and your family and we'll take you
Oh,
to our cool places around here. So anyway, but yeah, so I just want to be home this summer. Last summer
oh,
we were gone almost the whole summer. We traveled to promote the movie. We were on the road a lot, and then we went to California for several weeks, which was great. But this year, I just want to stay
home.
put.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to be home.
Oh, that'll be
So
good and relaxed. And that'll be a good summer to go into Brooklyn's senior year.
yes,
You know?
yeah,
So you're
yeah,
not going into it running ragged. You're going into it with a
right.
relaxed, peaceful
Yes,
state,
yep,
Oh,
yep.
I
Planning
love
for
that.
all that.
It's funny when you say the ocean. My littlest lately, she's been reading a book where the kids are at the ocean. And she's like, Mama, I want to see the ocean someday. I want to see the ocean someday. And, everybody gets to go to the ocean. And like my kids have not been. And I'm
None
like,
of your kids have ever been to the ocean?
well, my oldest two, we took a ferry from Seattle to the San Juan Islands. And so not really. I mean, no. But it's not like they got to be on a beach and play in the ocean, no. And so, but she's the one that's like, I really want to. And so I'm like, well, we could go to the Oregon coast, which is rocky and freezing and
Yeah.
it's like these books are, I'm like, that's not in our cards. We live in the mountains of Idaho, honey. So,
Yeah.
but I'm like, okay, someday this girl is going to have to go see the ocean. But I didn't see the ocean until I was in I don't think I played on the ocean until I was in high school.
It's crazy.
And you know what? I was like, it's scary. I don't need, I take it or leave it. Give me a mountain lake any day. But
That's
she
so
really
funny.
does. She wants to see the ocean.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
So it
funny.
won't be this summer, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, I will say truly this country is big, but it's very easily accessible.
I
And
know. We
so
just need to do
traveling is
it.
not that hard. I always felt like when we lived in California, I just felt like all the other states were so far out of reach. Even like Nevada, I'm like, it's right next door. Like I just felt like it was so big and such a big
Right.
deal to travel. And now that we've done it,
Oh, you guys have traveled coast to
it's
coast.
we have a few times.
Yeah.
We've circled the country twice. And we haven't hit every state.
Right.
We've been to 30 something states, but I still want to go to the New England states really
I
bad.
know. Me too.
We haven't made those yet, but I don't know. It's not as difficult as people think it is.
We just
It's
need to
not
do
that
it.
far. You just
Yeah.
need to do it. Just get in your car, Abby.
I know. And
Get
take
on
my
your
kids,
ATVs and just drive.
take my kids to the ocean.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Oh.
Anyway, we're out of time. We're going to come back on Thursday, and we're going to keep talking about, I don't know, our lives, our fun stuff,
Yeah.
things, and having our coffee conversation with one another.
Yay.
So you guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us. Check out our new swag. Go to schoolhouserocked.com, go to our shop, and that is a great way to support the ministry of Schoolhouse Rocked. 2 other ways that you can support the ministry is by donating. You could do a one-time donation or a monthly donation. You can find that on the website as well. Or you can leave a review for the podcast. That might seem like an insignificant way to support this ministry, but it really is a very significant way to support the ministry. So wherever you're listening to this, share it with your friends, leave a review. If you're watching these videos on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to them and share them with your friends as well. Thank you guys for being with us. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.
A mom said to me one time, "Aren't you worried about sheltering your children?" And I said to her, we care more about sheltering tomato plants in the culture right now than we do about our precious children. And so if someone wants to accuse me of sheltering my children, my answer is always absolutely yes. I will shelter my child until I know my child can stand up against the elements of the culture so that they can grow to maturity. And we slowly begin to remove the shelter from around them as we see that they are mature and that they understand the battle lines around them and can engage the culture from a position of strength rather than weakness.